The conventional narrative of human evolution paints a picture of gradual progress. We've been told that approximately 5 to 6 million years ago, a species of ape took its first steps on two legs, setting the stage for early humanity. For millions of years that followed, our ancestors lived rudimentary lives, marked by only a handful of pivotal innovations like the discovery of fire and the creation of basic tools. But then, something truly extraordinary occurred. Around 20,000 years ago, human development experienced an explosive acceleration that seems to defy simple explanation. We went from basic survival to constructing monumental structures like the Göbekli Tepe. And astonishingly, within just 12,000 years, we launched spacecraft into the cosmos. It's as if we suddenly gained access to knowledge and technology far beyond what our natural progression would suggest. How could such a dramatic and abrupt transformation take place? This profound question has led many to consider the possibility that humanity's evolution was not entirely an organic process. At the heart of this mystery are the Anunnaki, believed by some to be extraterrestrial beings who visited Earth and irrevocably altered the course of human history. Their existence has sparked endless fascination and intense debate. Today we're going to delve into the most intriguing secrets, theories, and coincidences surrounding the Anunnaki. Who were they? What might they have done to accelerate human progress? And the biggest question of all, could they ever return? The cradle of civilization and a puzzling pause. We all recognize ancient Sumer as the undisputed cradle of civilization. Long before the pyramids of Egypt or the enigmatic Stonehenge, the Sumerians gifted the world with groundbreaking advancements. They pioneered the written alphabet, invented the wheel and sailboats, and developed intricate irrigation systems that revolutionized agriculture. Their cities were not only vast for their time, but were meticulously organized under remarkable legal frameworks, such as the Code of Yonamu, the first codified laws governing society. And that's not all. You've likely heard of their incredible astronomical knowledge, which laid the foundation for the duodecimal system and the sexagesimal system we still rely on today for minutes and seconds. Nearly 7,000 years have passed since their golden age, and here we are now, launching rockets into space and unraveling the mysteries of the universe. But here's where things get truly puzzling. Homo sapiens, our advanced species, has existed for over 300,000 years. That's an enormous span of time. So, what exactly were we doing for the first 290,000 years? For millennia, progress seemed to crawl at a snail's pace. Yet within the last 7,000 years, we've made leaps that seem almost otherworldly. Why did humanity remain dormant for so long, only to suddenly explode into innovation and complexity? Mainstream science still grapples to explain this abrupt shift. However, an intriguing theory emerges from the ancient Sumerian cuneiform writings, one that challenges the limits of our imagination and redefines the story of human evolution. Let's take a closer look at what these ancient texts might reveal. The Anunnaki and the quest for gold. According to the texts left to us by the Sumerians, the people living before this technological boom were primarily occupied with working in mines for millennia. This, they suggest, is why our development was seemingly halted. These ancient peoples mined for gold, and in huge quantities. Yet, in those times, gold held no intrinsic value for humankind. However, it did hold immense value for other civilizations. In fact, when you consider it, the facts show that gold is an excellent conductor. Used extensively today in electronics, gold also aids in chemical reactions to purify the atmosphere and water. It's used in the aerospace industry, as well as in medicine. Yet, it's only today that we fully appreciate these properties. For the people of the past, gold was merely a beautiful and shiny metal to observe, without any practical value. Why, then, did the ancients toil so relentlessly in the mines for it? Here the cuneiform records also provide an answer. Speaking of the gods who descended from the sky, who allegedly enslaved humanity to supply them with gold, it was the very reason they came to Earth. According to one theory advanced by a researcher of Sumerian texts, this theory suggests the Anunnaki were not gods, but rather a race from another planet. They desperately needed gold to save their world from destruction, using it to purify the atmosphere and water from pollution. However, gold was scarce on their home planet. This scarcity brought them to Earth, where they began exporting it. Initially, people perceived them as gods due to their advanced technology, but the Anunnaki seemingly paid little attention to humans, as they had their own professional workers to extract every gram of the precious metal. All the mined gold was sent to their planet in an effort to stabilize its environment. We understand from many different sources that there's an extra planet in our solar system, massive and with a huge orbit, that we haven't yet definitively found. Some call it Planet 12. NASA refers to it as Planet 9, and others call it Planet X. The Sumerians and Anunnaki, however, knew it as Nib. Astronomers today have observed orbital anomalies in the asteroid belt beyond Neptune, suggesting they are influenced by a massive object orbiting at a great distance from the Sun. While such an object hasn't been directly discovered, there are definitely traces pointing towards its existence. According to the ancient texts, Nibiru makes one orbit around the Sun every 3,600 Earth years. Nibiru is believed to be the contaminated world of the universe. At some point, they realized that if they sprayed nanoparticles of gold into their planet's sky, it would reflect the sun's rays and absorb harmful radiation. This discovery sent them across the solar system in search of gold. They eventually arrived at Earth, which was extraordinarily rich in this valuable material, and decided to establish a colony. The Anunnaki appearance and the creation of humanity. So, what did the Anunnaki look like? According to several ancient plaques, the Anunnaki were depicted as being 3 to 4 meters tall with elongated skulls and larger heads. It's worth a quick note that many ancient cultures around the world deliberately elongated their skulls to resemble those of the gods. Visually, the Anunnaki did resemble humans, but were often depicted wearing very rich robes. Their skin was fair, and so were their eyes. They called themselves the Anunnaki, named after their king Anu. Anu dispatched his 2 sons, Enki and Enlil, to Earth to oversee the gold mining operations. Once the Anunnaki colony on Earth was fully operational and their gold mining efforts began to stabilize their planet's atmosphere, they faced an inevitable problem. They needed more gold, and quickly. Transporting tons of the precious material to Nibiru was proving successful, but their workforce couldn't keep up with the increasing demand. That's when they turned their attention to Earth's native inhabitants, early humanoids. Our ancestors had already demonstrated some skill with tools and survival instincts, but they lacked the intelligence and physical capability for the grueling work required in the mines. One of the Anunnaki leaders, Enki, proposed an audacious solution: a genetic hybrid. By combining the DNA of the Anunnaki with that of early humans, they could create a new species, one that was more intelligent, more physically capable, and crucially, easier to control. However, the path to success was fraught with challenges. The first experiments were disastrous, resulting in grotesque mutations and creatures that seemed to echo the monsters of myth and legend, disfigured giants, and other monstrous beings described in ancient stories. These beings were deemed failures and, according to some interpretations, destroyed or abandoned. Desperate for a breakthrough, the Anunnaki decided to take a more direct approach. They used one of their own women as a surrogate, implanting a fertilized egg with a carefully engineered genetic mix. This time, the experiment succeeded. The child that was born was named Adamu, a name that many believe to be the origin of the biblical Adam. This hybrid creation was celebrated as a turning point. The phrase "created in their own image," found in Sumerian, Babylonian, and Akkadian texts, bears striking similarities to religious narratives from around the world. From the Bible's Genesis to countless creation myths, the parallels are hard to ignore. Could these stories be fragmented memories of the Anunnaki intervention in human development? Adamu and those who followed were sent to work in the mines, fulfilling the Anunnaki's grand plan. Yet, this act of creation was more than just a utilitarian solution. It was the beginning of a complex relationship between humanity and its creators, a relationship that may still hold mysteries waiting to be uncovered. The developmental leap is profound. Suddenly, humans changed from being mere apes living in groups in caves, not only mentally but also visually. This sudden leap in our evolution was so abrupt that it raises significant doubt, especially since we know that everything in nature typically happens at an extremely slow pace. But there's something else. In the book Humans Are Not From Earth, a few interesting facts are mentioned, such as how we are not as well adapted to Earth's conditions as other animals are. The author of the book poses a thought-provoking question: why have we lost the fur on our body? Fur helps protect us against the sun's harmful rays, and without it, as we well know, we are exposed to sunburns and more severe consequences. Our ancestors were liberally covered with fur, and for good reason. Yet in a very short period, people changed abruptly and began to reproduce more rapidly. The Anunnaki taught their human creations how to build homes and practice agriculture. They taught them culture, but they never forgot to send them into the gold mines. For hundreds of years, humans worked for the Anunnaki and obeyed their every command. They were intelligent enough for mining, but not advanced enough to resist. At some point, however, that changed. The Anunnaki on Earth began to have secret relationships with human women, and thus, more advanced humans emerged who possessed self-awareness and other feelings common to humans today. Several generations passed, and these more advanced humans became dominant. They were more intelligent, but also more violent. They multiplied an awful lot and started causing trouble. To reduce their population, Enki allegedly sent several disasters: drought, disease, insects. You know the rest of the biblical punishments. But at some point, He drove most of the people out of their colonial city, and so our ancestors drifted across the planet. As humans flourished, building cities with knowledge passed down by the Anunnaki, a new light appeared in the sky. While humans marveled at its mystery, the Anunnaki recognized it as their home planet Nibiru, nearing Earth in its long orbit. Having gathered the gold they needed to stabilize their planet, the Anunnaki prepared to leave. They knew Nibiru's approach would wreak havoc on Earth, but they abandoned their creation to its fate. As they departed, chaos unfolded. Earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, and tsunamis ravaged the planet. Nibiru's gravitational pull caused oceans to swell, culminating in a colossal flood that swept across the Earth. This, many believe, is the origin of the Great Flood, a tale echoed in countless myths, including the Bible. Yet, not all the Anunnaki were willing to let humanity perish. Some intervened, instructing a man named Utnapishtim to build a vessel and save seeds, animals, and life itself. Utnapishtim's story, found in the Epic of Gilgamesh, predates Noah's tale by millennia, suggesting a shared memory of a cataclysm. When the floodwaters receded, humanity began anew, forever shaped by the Anunnaki legacy. Did they truly leave, or are they still watching? The echoes of their story continue to stir questions we have yet to answer. The persistent echoes and the prophecy. It's astonishing how cultures across the globe share eerily similar flood stories. In Hindu mythology, the god Vishnu, appearing as a fish, warns Manu of an impending death. Manu builds a ship, saving his family and the seeds of all plants. The Chinese speak of a catastrophic flood that reshaped the earth. Polynesian legends recount Nu, a hero who escapes the waters in a massive canoe, taking animals with him. In Greek mythology, Zeus sends a flood to destroy humanity, sparing only Deucalion and Pyrrha, who survive in an ark and rebuild civilization. The parallels are uncanny. In every tale, gods descend, create humans, destroy them through a flood, and then guide the survivors toward a new beginning. Could these stories be fragmented memories of the same event? Too many coincidences, don't you think? After the Great Flood, humanity faced a monumental knowledge and advancements from the earlier era were lost, washed away in the destruction. Civilization had to begin anew. The Anunnaki particularly, they taught mathematics, engineering, and the foundations of culture and science, leaving a profound legacy that shaped our future before ultimately departing the Earth. According to Sumerian cuneiform calculations, the next passage of Nibiru near Earth is predicted to be around the year 2900. By then, we may have advanced enough to confirm if such a planet truly exists. The question remains, will the Anunnaki return? We would love to hear your answers in the comments. Remember to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Keep your minds open. And until we meet again,